Lord, our God, our Father, we come once again penitent in heart, prostrate in our spirits and our souls, acknowledging that you and you alone are the Creator. You are our Father. We bless you and we thank you for all that you are. Now, as once again we have these precious moments together as you've gifted us, we pray, dear Lord, that you help us to hear you and certainly not take you for granted. We want the record to reflect that we are wholly, holistically committed to you, to your will, your way. Continue to speak, we beg, to our lives. We will hearken, we will hear you, we will obey you. As all things are for your glory, this we ask and live through your darling Son, Jesus the Christ. Amen. We're grateful and thankful once again to our Creator who has given us everything that we need in order to accomplish the assignment on our lives. Understand, my brothers and my sisters, it is a tremendous blessing to be conscious, to be cognizant of the assignment. And knowing that our Creator loves us enough to use us in his majestic plan of purpose ought to be enough to keep our spirits and our souls and even our bodies engaged in perfect alignment with his will. We invite you once again to the mind of the Master, which continues to share that his way is the best way. He leaves on record, as we've been sharing with you these last number of weeks, he leaves on record Decalogue, 10 sayings that not only are to govern and guide the children of Israel, but it is to govern and guide the minds of those who seek him and who have sense enough to acknowledge that without him we are nothing, and through him and because of him we can accomplish the extraordinary. I speak to you today to invite you to the extraordinary. As the Creator shows with his interlude with his own children, the children of Israel, so does he here with us today. He shows his willingness to expose his people to the extraordinary. The extraordinary. When we walk with him, when we follow him, when we consider his ways and commit ourselves to him, you will discover, as I have discovered, it is nothing less than extraordinary. The paths that he calls us to, the pilgrimage that we traverse, I'm here to let you know, not just in hindsight, but in present sight, our Creator never disappoints. Somebody accurately assessed that every day with him gets sweeter as the days go by. I encourage you, brothers and sisters, to listen intently and receive with intensity and with willingness that which he is making available to our lives here today, henceforth and forevermore. These sayings, you know them as the 10 Commandments. These sayings present themselves in two fashions, or two arenas, two areas. The first 4 being vertical towards him and how we relate how we are to relate to him. The next 6 are lateral and reminds us how we are to relate to one another. As we bring to conclusion this segment of the Decalogue, the sayings, we remind you that these first 4, the focus is on law. Well, all of it is on law and order, but this first 4, the focus is on the fact that there is organized crime, there is intentional itineraries organized to do hurt, harm, and bring destruction to the will and the way of the Creator. We know this by way of the approach of these commandments. He says, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Talk to me, somebody. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. We have spent extensive time and energy in bringing to you heavenly revelation concerning these first 3 commandments. But now we find ourselves at commandment number 4, found in the book of Exodus, chapter number 20 and verse number 8. You will remember these words. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. This, my brothers and sisters, speaks to, as we will highlight this segment of this series of messages, it will govern our thinking as we focus along this theme of thought, and that is extraordinary fellowship. Extraordinary fellowship. Understand that there is still organized crime, units, divisions, people, institutions even, energies and efforts that are organized to do hurt, harm, and danger and bring destruction as well as disruption to the Sabbath. The Sabbath, whatever it is, and I only go there not because we don't know what it is, but because there's been so much convoluted thought presentations concerning the Sabbath, especially of late here, until it has caused many a people and many a minds to become disillusioned and even disheartened because one might find it ever evasive or ever elusive. The meaning, the true meaning of Sabbath and its role and its place in life and in the Creator's plan of purpose. Can I get a witness here? But I'm here to let you know that as with all that he has done, as with all that he's given, he gives with purpose. And because of purpose and because of the accomplishment of purpose, if no one else knows it and understands it, the enemy understands and knows that when his purpose is accomplished, his glory is inevitable. Are you listening to me here today? I said when his purpose, his assignment, when his purpose is accomplished, oh yes, his glory is inevitable. I don't know about you, but that's one of the reasons why I commit myself, and I invite you also to commit yourselves to the assignment. Commit yourselves to purpose, because once again, it is as you accomplish purpose, His glory, somebody say His glory. His glory is inevitable. So there is organized effort to come against the Sabbath, all that it is, and we're going to discuss that. We're going to discover, and we're going to share with you what that means. But just know right from the onset that it is convoluted by way of design of the enemy to keep you from being focused on the Father and the assignment of purpose to Sabbath, as He has assigned purpose to all things. I mean, you've heard all of the arguments, and if you have not, we'll mention just a few. What does Sabbath really mean? And does it apply to me? Come on, talk to me here, somebody. Sabbath, is it a part of moral law, or is it merely a part of ceremonial law and practice? And as such, has it met its expiration date? There are those who espouse to teach and to stand on just a portion of the revelation, but I would caution you and encourage you even to consider the whole counsel of the Creator. For if anything, Sabbath reminds us of an extraordinary fellowship. Talk to me, somebody. If nothing else, it reminds us of this extraordinary fellowship that we are to engage and enjoy even with the alone existent Himself. Notice, if you will, here's where I'm going with it. Notice, if you will, all of the other commandments begin and take us through the path of starting, or at least presenting, a positive end from a negative perspective, or from a negative approach. We shared with you before, and we remind you again, 8 of these commandments take this approach by telling us what we should not do. Thou shalt not do this. Thou shalt not do that. Thou shalt not take this approach. Thou shalt not be here. Thou shalt not participate in this. Have I a witness here? And it is by way of the negative that we get to the positive end. But neatly nestled, as I oftentimes share, neatly nestled in nuance, the mind of the master shares his versatility, his virility even, when with this commandment, as a matter of fact, the next 2 commandments, he does not try to bring it to its productive end by passing it through the prism or the filter of negativity. Hang in there with us. I said, you will notice with commandment number 4 and the very next commandment after that, our Creator, speaking not only to the children of Israel, but speaking to our lives here today, He does not attempt to pass this revelation through the filter and even the prism of negativity. Understand that all of it is going to accomplish His purpose. All of it is going to take us and bring us to a positive, purposeful end. But it is imperative, it is important that you notice with this commandment and the one right after it, that it does not use negativity in order to accomplish its end. He does not open up this commandment with thou shalt not, but rather he opens it up from the nuance of neutrality. Come on, talk to your boy. Talk to your man here today. He opens it up from and through the nave of neutrality. He says, simply, remember the Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Notice, if you will, noticeably and conspicuously missing, once again, is the prologue of negativity. There is no thou shalt not. But what he does, once again, is take us, oh, I like it. He takes us to and through the nave of neutrality, meaning that he does not need negativity at this point in order to accomplish his purposeful end. I believe that there's revival right there. And there's elevation and there's revelation, there's illumination even right there. For those who believe that the only way that our Creator can operate is if he has to operate from the paradigm of negativity to positivity. Are you listening to me? Simply put, the Creator is not limited to operating by your schemes of negativity to drive towards positivity. He does not need negativity in order to authenticate that which is positive, nor does he need negativity in order to accomplish his purpose. All things are at his disposal. Talk to me, somebody. All things are within his arsenal to accomplish his assigned purpose. That's what it means to be who he is. He is the Most High, and comes up here in the text very shortly here. He does not have to operate any one way. He is not monolithic. He is not one way. He is not linear. Talk to me, somebody. But our Creator has demonstrated that he can use all things, and he will use all things. See, you have no idea how the Creator is going to get not only you to where you need to be, but he can get what you need to you, and you have no idea how he will get it to you. Can I get a witness here? So I won't fight against him if he deems it necessary to move me to and through the nave of neutrality. This word says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. There is no negativity in front of it. It is as though the Lord is saying and speaking clearly. It's not negativity towards positivity. The pilgrimage does not have to start off positivity, go through negativity, make a U-turn, and somehow stumble back on positivity in order to be productive in the scheme and the paradigm of purpose. Absolutely not. But rather, this commandment gives light to the mind of the master, which shares with us neutrality. And the nave of neutrality is a blessed thing. Simply put, there's something, that's what the Creator is saying, there's some things you just ought to know. There are some things you ought to know, not because you've had a negative experience and that taught you. The other side of that is that there's some things you ought to know, not just because you've had a positive experience and that's how you came into the know. But there are some things you ought to know simply because you are connected to him. There are some things that you ought to know because his breath, his ruach, his spirit, his presence lives on in you. And it ought to bring to the forefront some things that are and should be undeniable, unequivocal, unquestionable. What are you getting at, pastor, preacher, teacher? When the Creator says, remember now the Sabbath day to keep it holy, he is sharing right off the bat that there are some things that ought to be intrinsic to your existence. Some things somebody shouldn't have to tell you. They shouldn't have to force you to go through experiences in order for you to know it. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit tight for some who deem that the agenda and the offers of the agenda of humanism is the only way to authenticate real knowledge and real truth. But I'm here to let you know, while experience may be a good teacher, and it is. I said, while experience may be a good teacher, and it is, but don't ever forget, experience is not the only teacher. Talk to me, somebody. Experience is a good teacher, but experience is not the only teacher. You don't necessarily have to have gone through the same things that others have gone through in order to know and benefit from the actuality of truth. Have I a witness here? I believe that fire is hot, but I should not have had to been doused with flames in order to come into that knowledge. You ought to know some things. There are some things that ought to be intrinsic to truth because you know him, because you have him, the creator. Have I a witness here? This is to bless some of you here today. This is to bless some of you out there, to remind you that experience, yes, is a teacher, but it is not the only teacher. And once you know that, you will stop trying to force people to go through your experiences as if your experience, as if your pilgrimage, as if the way you've learned a thing is the only way that truth can be accomplished, or truth can be known and purpose accomplished. Are you listening to me? We are not all called to go through the same things and travel the same paths. I'm here to let you know that while your experience may be one thing, my experience may be totally different. But we ought not be fighting with one another, nor trying to cancel out one another because we have different experiences. I'm here to let you know that experience, once again, is a teacher, but it is not the only teacher. And according to this script, as the Creator continues to reveal the mind of the Master here, he takes a different approach when he says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. This is all about focusing on the extraordinary relationship. Extraordinary relationship. And that's where we'll spend the balance of the time that we have left here today, to help elevate you to a place of divine consciousness, divine cognizance, so that you won't be duped by the devil into fighting battles that really are not yours to fight. We've got to learn to stop beating up on one another simply because we have different experiences, simply because we come from different places, or that the Creator has used different paths and different venues in order to bring us to the place of revelation. Are you listening to me? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. There are two things, there are two areas here, and we'll only deal with one of them, and that one arena. We'll only deal with one of the arenas. There are two arenas here that leap off from the pages of print without any help from me. And that is the arena of acknowledgement and the arena of activity. But we will deal with only one today. The importance of acknowledgement. The importance of acknowledgement. For those of you who are taking notes, because you understand that you can not only one that you ain't never, you don't know it yourself, you ain't seen it before, but certainly you're not going to retain it. Make sure you write this down as point number one. This commandment highlights the importance of acknowledgement. The importance of acknowledgement. See, this is what's going to deliver us from the contaminated cesspool, a cesspool of confusion that causes many to miss out on the mind of the master because they are caught up in debates as to whether this commandment is out of date, whether this commandment has been reshaped, taken away, and redefined. Those of you who know your biblical and you know your religious and world history, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Redefined, being changed from meaning one thing on the seventh day now as to meaning something different as it was moved to another day. I'm here to let you know that the Creator has given deliverance to bring you out of this chasm of chaos. If you will only focus on the fact that this commandment highlights the importance of acknowledgement because it points to an extraordinary fellowship, a fellowship unlike any other, a fellowship that is undeniable. Look at it if you will. The word comes to us. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. To keep it holy. Understand, my brothers and sisters, as we highlight the importance of acknowledgement, what is highlighted here simply is how the Lord uses, the Creator uses the Sabbath to force humanity to not only intersect, but to interconnect with Him. It forces you to interconnect. It forces you. That's what Sabbath does. It's going to force you and even fortify you. I like that alliteration. It's FYI. It forces you to interconnect. Notice, if you will, see, the key to unlocking the mystery of this text is to see it, one, as a whole, as opposed to chopping it up and not understanding its overarching theology or theme. Here's what we're getting to. He says, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. And while we are tempted to deal with Sabbath initially, but understand its aim is whatever Sabbath is, it is to be remembered to keep it holy. In other words, its place, its aim is the holy. Its aim, its goal is the holy, and whatever holy is, whatever holy means. So you got to see it as a whole. It's not just a formula, but it is precept. It's not just a principle. Come on, those of you who have been duped by the devil into thinking that the way to operate with the Creator is to operate by principles. Well, it'd be all right if you define principles as it ought to be defined, meaning that it is first truth, it is first things. We don't tend to make the Creator, we don't make the Most High the first thing. When we say principles, we're actually meaning formulas. Formulas that in actuality attempt to X out, if not eradicate, the Most High altogether. If we got a formula, we really don't need the Father. Talk to me, somebody. If we have the formula, if we got a plan, we really don't need his preeminence. I'm here to let you know that when you see this commandment, this saying, this law, understand it in its entirety. See it from the big picture. See it from his overarching aim. And the aim is to connect you to that which is holy, and holy is him. It's not bad English. I need you to understand that holy literally is him. Holy speaks to the very nature of the Creator. You've got to understand that holy is meaning not only to be set aside, but it is to be the totally holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, the totally holy other. It is to be sacred, yes, but what distinguishes holy is that it is totally different, totally separate, totally distinct from any and everything else. Understand that holy and holiness is not a denomination. It's most unfortunate that those who are underdeveloped and untrained have used and pounced upon the emotions of the unsuspecting and make you think that somehow holiness is some denominational demand. Holiness is not the way you dance. Holiness is not the way you sing. Holiness is not the way you play. Holiness is not a certain way of acting. Holy is not just a lifestyle. Holy is a state of being. Oh, I wish I had somebody here today. I mean, to be holy is a state, a place of being. It points to and reminds us of him, his nature, who he is. He says and teaches us, be ye holy, for I am holy. Be ye holy, for I am holy. Doesn't mean that you have to dance a certain way. No, absolutely not. That's not what it means. But what it does mean is that the very nature, the very character, and the characteristics of our Creator ought to become the aim and the commitment of our focus, of our energies, of our pilgrimage. We are to be like him. When you are like him, you are holy. When you think like him, you are holy. When you operate like him, you are holy. When you live like him, you are holy. When you take on his nature, his attributes, you are holy. I'm here to let you know, and even in there, if I could just drop this nugget, this pearl and this nugget in there to help you out. In there, there's something that we're struggling with in this day and time, in this day and age, that oftentimes get overlooked. The very nature of our Creator, characteristics of our Creator. And if the Creator is masculine, you got to understand it is masculine. He is masculine. Masculinity. This is not a matter of sexuality. It is a matter of constitution. That means, brothers and sisters, you ought to invite and celebrate the constitution of the Creator in your lives as evidence of that which is holy. That which is holy. But come back and we can talk about that in greater detail as we lay even more foundation to help launch this great revelation. Understand when he says, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Whatever the Sabbath is, he says, remember it so that you can make sure that it retains the nature of holiness. Totally separate, totally distinct and distinguished from everything else, everyone else. Come on, somebody. The Sabbath is not to be like everything else. It's not just about not doing anything. It's not just about stopping or ceasing from working. It is that, but it is so much more than that. Understand that the Sabbath is about making sure that the very nature, the very constitution, the nature of the Creator is not only preserved, but presented. Are you hearing me here today? A whole lot of folk ain't doing nothing, but doesn't mean a whole lot of people have stopped working. Haven't done any work, but doesn't mean that you're holy. And it doesn't even mean that you are keeping true Sabbath. There are many who are confused right now. Got a whole lot of brothers thinking that simply because I don't do anything on a certain day that I am honoring the Sabbath. And to a degree, I mean, we're thankful and we're grateful that at least you're heading in the right direction, but you've got to understand the overarching and the committed end to Sabbath is to make sure that it is connected to that which is holy, or he who is holy and he who represents holiness and its agenda. Oh, I wish I had somebody. So he says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. It forces you. It forces you to intersect and interconnect with one, the Creator. Let's get it. Let's get down the road. It forces you to go back to the Creator. Remember, he is holy. He is holy. Only he brings definition to what holy really is. In the temple, beyond the outer courts and the inner court, what is known, Latin tongue, sanctum sanctorum, as the holies of holy, it is only that because he is that. Because the Creator, his spirit shows up. That's what makes it holy. Not because you dance real fast when the music is playing, real fast. Come on, talk to me, somebody. Not because you dress a certain way and your hemline is a certain length. That's not what makes you holy. Not because you don't wear makeup. That's not what makes you holy. It'll make you homely, but it don't make you holy. Talk to me, somebody. Not because your hair is worn a certain way, but I'm here to let you know what makes it holy is that he, the Creator, he, the everlasting Father, he, the Prince of Peace, he, the one who is all powerful, all knowing and ever present, he is there, and you emulate and you take on his nature. So brothers and sisters, it's about this interconnect. It is about this intuition, this interconnect that brings about this intuition concerning his nature. He says, remember the Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Make sure you keep it holy. Make sure that you're connected when it comes to Sabbath. There's something about Sabbath. There's something about Sabbaton, Shabbaton, or Shabbat. There's something about Sabaoth that ushers us to that which is holy. And this commandment makes sure that we don't lose sight of that. That we don't lose sight of it. I'm here to let you know, FYI, I need to be interconnected with him. I need to intersect with him. And if you've got good sense, you too will make sure that you take time out to intersect with him. No matter what's going on, in spite of all that's going on, make sure you intersect with him. Because it is at that intersection, it is at that interconnection, you will discover an extraordinary fellowship. Is there anyone here other than myself can testify that it is an extraordinary fellowship, being connected to the Creator, being connected to the Most High, and making sure that I spend time exuding and exemplifying the exploits of that fellowship. If you don't understand it, the older saints used to say it like this: what a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on his everlasting arm. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arm, leaning safe and secure from all alarm. Or if I had somebody here that didn't mind testifying that the reason why I can have true Sabbath, that I can have true peace, that I can have true rest, repose, is because I engage in this extraordinary fellowship. It is an extraordinary fellowship with him. He's with me. Come on, talk to me, somebody. Anybody here can praise his name right now wherever you are, because you're enjoying this extraordinary fellowship that Sabbath helps to force you to interconnect with it. It reminds you, it is a reminder of the extraordinary fellowship that you are engaged in with the Creator. Excuse me. It is an extraordinary fellowship. He walks with me. It is an extraordinary fellowship. He talks with me. It is an extraordinary fellowship. He tells me that I am his own. It is an extraordinary fellowship. He goes with me. He sticks closer than a brother. It is an extraordinary fellowship. All things work together for good to them who love him, who love God, and who are the called according to his purpose. It is an extraordinary fellowship. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I don't have to fear. I choose not to fear any evil, because thou art with me. Oh, it is an extraordinary fellowship. He keeps me when I can't keep myself. It is an extraordinary fellowship. He is my buckler and my shield. It is an extraordinary fellowship. He is my rear reward. It is an extraordinary fellowship. He's my peace. It is an extraordinary fellowship. He guards me and keeps my mind in perfect peace as long as I keep my mind stayed on him. It is an extraordinary fellowship. I'm here to let you know that the Sabbath, this commandment, forges as well as forces us, forces his people to intersect with him, to interconnect with him, who he is. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. It's about holiness. If ever there was a time where we needed the holy and people to connect with the Holy One, now is that time. People are living as though they are the creator of their own lives and the author of their own destinies. I'm here to let you know, don't ever forget that the Creator is still alive and he's still in business, and you'd be well served to connect with him. No matter what's going on in your life, be it negative or positive. If you're going through some negative circumstances, situations, connect with him. Come on. If you're going through some pains and some undesirable issues and emotions, connect with him. Even if you find yourself in prosperous times and some positive things have happened in your life, don't be fooled by the enemy. This is not the time to disconnect. This is not the time to hang up on him. Make sure that you connect to the Creator. That's what Sabbath does. It helps us to connect to the Creator. You will remember, as we hurry to bring this to a close here today, that according to the Genesis account, that it was on day number 7. You'll read it in Genesis chapter number 2. The Lord rested from his work. He rested from his work. He rested. He rested from his work. And he sanctified and he hallowed the day in that he rested from his work. He ceased the work, but we'll pick it up next we meet. The key to unlocking this and to propelling you to a place of permanent peace is understanding not only what Sabbath means, but what that word rest really means. He finds repose. He finds peace. He finds total end at this place. So you got to understand, like holiness, rest is a state of being. It's a place that it is a state of being. And because the Creator could not rest in anything greater than himself, he rested in himself. I'm here to let you know, brothers and sisters, as we bring this to a close here today, just wanted to stop by and introduce this to you, that if there's going to be true Sabbath in your life, if there's going to be the benefit of Sabbath in your life, you must learn to rest in him, to find your peace, to find your repose, to find your revival in him. It's about taking time to spend time, not only with him, but in him. Can I get a witness here? Before I take my seat here today, I'm looking for those who don't mind giving testimony right where you are right now. That no matter what's going on in my life, be it negative or positive, I'm going to make sure that as the Creator gifts me with the gifting of time, I'm going to make sure that time is set aside for me to rest in him, to remind me and everybody else that without him I am nothing, but through him I can do all things. Rest in him. Remember the Sabbath, to keep it holy. To God be the glory. Come on, put those hands together and let's bless his name. Bless his holy name. Bless his holy name. To God be